Once upon a time, in a small cottage nestled at the edge of a forest, lived a young maiden named Marukla. Marukla had a heart as pure as the driven snow and a spirit that shone brighter than the morning sun. She lived with her stepmother and stepsister Helen. While Marukla toiled tirelessly, her stepsister Helen was spoiled and idle, her heart as cold as the winter wind. Marukla's days were filled with endless chores. She cooked, cleaned, and tended to the garden, her gentle hands working tirelessly. Despite her stepmother's harsh words and her stepsister's scornful glances, Marukla remained cheerful, her kind heart never hardening. She found solace in the company of the forest animals who flocked to her side, drawn by her warmth and gentle nature. Winter arrived, blanketing the land in a thick coat of snow. The forest stood silent, its once vibrant colors now muted by the cold. Inside their humble cottage, Marukla's stepmother and Helen huddled by the fire, their faces grim. Food was scarce, and firewood was dwindling.
Marukla, go into the forest and find us strawberries. We are weary of winter's fare.
Marukla's heart sank. Strawberries in winter? It was an impossible task. But defying her stepmother was not an option.
But Mother, it's far too cold. Let Marukla go tomorrow.
Helen's pleas were not out of concern for Marukla, but rather a selfish desire to avoid any disruption to her own comfort. Bundled in her thin shawl, Marukla ventured into the frozen wilderness. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, biting at her exposed skin. She searched high and low, her hope dwindling with each passing moment. Just as despair threatened to engulf her, she spotted a faint light flickering in the distance.
There! There it is!
With renewed determination, she stumbled towards the light. She emerged into a clearing, bathed in an ethereal glow. In the center, a fire crackled merrily, its warmth a beacon in the frozen landscape. Seated around the fire were 12 figures, their appearances as distinct as the months themselves. They were the 12 months, gathered for their annual council. Marukla approached cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. The forest was dense and the air was crisp, each step she took crunching the snow beneath her feet. She had never ventured this deep into the woods before, especially not in the dead of winter. January, his beard white as snow, turned to her with a gentle smile. His eyes, though ancient, held a warmth that contrasted the cold surroundings.
"What brings you here, child, on this bitter winter's day?" His voice was deep and resonant, echoing through the silent forest.
Marukla explained her plight, her voice trembling slightly. She spoke of the Queen's desire for violets, a flower that symbolized the arrival of spring. The months listened patiently, their expressions a mixture of amusement and pity. They understood the urgency of her request, knowing how the Queen's whims could change the fate of many. When she finished, April, his eyes twinkling like spring rain, rose to his feet. His presence brought a sense of renewal and hope, as if the promise of warmer days was just around the corner. He raised his arms and the clearing was bathed in a warm light. The transformation was almost magical, the cold winter air giving way to a gentle spring breeze. When the light faded, a basket overflowing with violets lay at Marukla's feet. The vibrant colors and sweet fragrance filled the air, a stark contrast to the barren winter landscape.
"Take these to the Queen. She yearns for the scent of spring." His voice was kind, yet there was an urgency in his tone, as if he understood the importance of her mission.
Thank you so much! Marukla's voice was filled with emotion, her eyes brimming with tears of gratitude.
And with that, Marukla's heart filled with gratitude, she gathered the violets and made her way back through the forest, the scent of spring guiding her steps. The journey back seemed less daunting, the flowers a reminder of the kindness she had encountered and the hope that spring would soon bring. Marukla returned home, her heart overflowing with joy. She had ventured into the cold, harsh winter, but her spirit was warmed by the kindness she had encountered.
The violets, a symbol of hope and renewal, brought warmth to our humble dwelling. Their delicate petals seemed to whisper promises of spring amidst the relentless winter.
Her stepmother and Helen, however, were far from pleased, their faces twisted with envy, unable to appreciate the beauty Marookla had brought back. Jealousy twisted their hearts as they eyed the precious blooms. The sight of Marookla's success only fueled their bitterness.
Why should she get all the praise and gifts? They muttered amongst themselves, their voices laced with resentment.
We deserve them more than she does. Their greed knew no bounds, and they could not bear to see Marookla happy.
Driven by their insatiable greed, they devised a plan. They whispered and schemed, their minds clouded by envy and malice. They waited until Marookla was asleep, then snuck out into the night, following the path she had described. The cold night air bit at their skin, but their determination kept them moving. They found the clearing and presented themselves before the 12 months, their voices dripping with false sweetness. They hoped to deceive the powerful spirits with their feigned humility.
O great months, we are in such dire need. Their words were honeyed lies, crafted to manipulate. Please grant us your generosity. They pleaded, their hands outstretched in a show of desperation.
Yes, we beg of you, kind spirits. Their voices trembled with a mix of fear and anticipation.
The months, however, saw through their deceit. The spirits were wise and not easily fooled by such transparent lies. They granted the stepmother and Helen's wish, but twisted it with a cruel irony. The spirits decided to teach them a harsh lesson. The snow fell, burying them in an icy tomb, a consequence of their wickedness and greed. Their fate was sealed by their own malicious desires, leaving Marookla to find peace and solace in the purity of her heart. When morning came, Marookla awoke to find her stepmother and Helen gone. She searched frantically, her heart heavy with worry.
Stepmother, Helen, where are you?
But they were never seen again. Some say they wandered the frozen wasteland, their hearts forever encased in ice, a chilling reminder of their wickedness. Others whisper that the forest spirits, angered by their greed and deceit, had spirited them away, their fate a cautionary tale whispered on the wind.
Though I am saddened by their fate, I find solace in knowing that justice, in its own way, has been served.
Marookla continued to live in the cottage, her heart filled with kindness and compassion. She shared her bounty with those in need, her generosity a beacon of warmth in the often harsh world. As winter loosened its grip, Marookla felt a renewed sense of hope. The cold, harsh days were behind her, and the promise of new beginnings was in the air. She could feel the warmth of the sun on her face, a gentle reminder that life was ready to bloom once more. The first buds of spring emerged shyly at first, then with increasing confidence, painting the once barren landscape in vibrant hues of green and gold. Each day brought new colors and scents, as if the earth itself was celebrating the end of winter. The transformation was nothing short of magical. The forest, awakened from its slumber, was alive with the sound of birdsong and the rustling of small creatures. Squirrels darted through the trees, and rabbits hopped through the underbrush, all rejoicing in the season's renewal. The air was filled with the sweet melodies of nature's symphony.
The world feels alive again, full of possibilities. The fields were dotted with wildflowers, and children ran freely, their laughter echoing through the meadows. It was a time of joy and discovery, where every day held a new adventure.
Marookla's cottage, once a place of sorrow and hardship, was now filled with warmth and laughter. The walls that had witnessed so much pain now echoed with joy. Friends and neighbors gathered, sharing stories and meals, creating a sense of community and belonging. Children from the nearby village flocked to her side, drawn by her gentle nature and captivating stories. They sat in rapt attention, their eyes wide with wonder as she spoke of far-off lands and magical creatures. Her tales were a source of inspiration and comfort.
Come, children, let me tell you about the magic of the forest and the importance of kindness. Gather around and listen closely, for these stories hold the wisdom of ages. They teach us to respect nature and to cherish the bonds we share with one another.
She taught them about the magic of the forest, the importance of kindness, and the enduring power of hope. Her lessons were not just about the natural world, but about the strength of the human spirit. In her words, they found a guide to navigate the challenges of life with grace and compassion. Years passed, and Marukla blossomed into a wise and compassionate woman. She never married, finding joy and fulfillment in her simple life and the love that surrounded her. Her heart, untouched by bitterness or regret, remained a beacon of light, illuminating the lives of all who crossed her path.
True wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the kindness we show to others.
Marukla's story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope and goodness can prevail. And it reminds us that the greatest treasure one can possess is a heart filled with love and compassion.